I doubt very much that there's one person up here who didn't campaign for the middle class, who didn't talk about how important it was that we be responsive to the middle class, that we quit putting pressure, economic pressure on the middle class, but yet this bill is basically taking the dream of home ownership away from the middle class in my state. And Senator Hoeven alluded to this, but I want to give you a real example because I think you're hearing us talk about it. But when we put a face to these statistics, I think you'll understand. In the community of Grafton, Allison Scari and her husband Kyle, they purchased a house about a year ago. At that time, the flood insurance rate was $901 a year for $100,000 of coverage. When the policy recently came up for renewal, their flood insurance rate skyrocketed to more than $4,200, a whopping 75% increase for the same amount of coverage. In an email to me, Allison expressed her desire to raise her children in Grafton, but unfortunately, they can no longer afford to live there at these rates. Allison said that if she and her husband had known about these rates, they would have never purchased the home. Now, even if Allison and her husband wanted to move out of the community of Grafton, tell me who's going to buy a house with the flood insurance rates at $400 or $4,200 a year. That is not helping the middle class. And when we look at the affordability and the putting the horse before the cart here, where we've now implemented a law, said damn to the consequences, and now we look back and say this has to change. And so one thing that hasn't been talked about here is that we hope that this bill, when it's enacted, will be retroactive. So these dramatic increases in rates will basically be suspended and we'll go back to the original rate structure. And so even though we've missed the deadline, the October 1st deadline, we talked about this at the last press conference, we intend that whatever work we do will in fact be retroactive.